Hi, good morning. Welcome to I Don't Know, but God Knows, and I am your host, Patti. Today, I don't want to talk about what I do not know, what I have no business talking about because I do not know. But there is one thing that I do know, and that is that God is great. And so today, I want to talk about God's greatness. Already, we're going to get into scripture, and Psalm 76, verse 11, it says, Make vows to the Lord your God and keep them. Let everyone bring tribute to the awesome one. I remember when I first started walking with God and I was hungry for God's word, right? So I was, I was eating it up, but also there was this part inside of me that still felt skeptical about it, still was doubting God, still was doubting everything that was happening to me, around me, through me. And so I came across this verse that says, "Let everyone bring tribute to the awesome one." And so right away I was like, awesome. Like, why would the Bible put a word like awesome? Because obviously, what came to mind for me was how we use awesome, so commonly. We say, That's awesome. Hey, buddy, you're awesome. That place was awesome. I had so much fun. It was awesome. But then I felt a nudge to look up the definition. So, awesome is defined as extremely, let me just emphasize, awesome is defined as extremely impressive or daunting, inspiring great admiration, apprehension, or fear, extremely good, excellent. So immediately, that put things in its place. I was like, oh, we've been using it wrong. We've been attaching awesome to so many things that are not awesome, that are not extremely impressive. Let everyone bring tribute to the awesome one, to the one that is extremely impressive. Why do we bring tribute to God? Because he's extremely impressive. Why is he extremely impressive? Because he does what no one else can do, because he does what nothing else can do. Why is he extremely impressive? Because only he can save. Salvation comes from the Lord alone. Let me share with you. Literally, in that same Psalm, Psalm 76, the following verse 12, it says, For he breaks the pride of princes, and the kings of the earth fear him. Let me tell you something about pride. It is not easy to break. I'm sure someone will come to mind as I'm speaking about this. A person that is just fixed in their ways, a person that is not budging as much as you try to tell them, right, that what they're doing is not good. They don't budge. They're stubborn. They're prideful. They're set in their ways. They're like, I know what I'm doing. I know what's best for me. You don't know. For he breaks the pride of he breaks what we can't break. He breaks what can't be broken. I'm telling you, if you have ever dealt with someone that is prideful, with someone that is stubborn, with someone that is stuck in their ways, it is impossible. It drains you. It can't be done. It can't be done by us. It can't be done by themselves. This is something that only God can break. Why is he the awesome one? Why is he extremely impressive? Because he does things like this. He breaks what we can't break on our own. He breaks what other people have deemed as, that person will never change. She's always going to be like that. He's always going to keep doing that. That's going to be his mindset. Literally, I don't see that person ever changing. Yeah, well, God can do it, for he breaks the pride of princes. I want to take you to verse 77, verse 14 and 15. You are the God of great wonders. You demonstrate your awesome power among the nations. By your strong arm, you redeemed your people, the descendants of Jacob and Joseph. And verses 19 and 20 from that same Psalm, Psalm 77, it says, Your road led through the sea, your pathway through the mighty waters, a pathway no one knew was there. You led your people along that road like a flock of sheep, with Moses and Aaron as their shepherds. God does the impossible. That's why he is worthy of praise. That's why he is extremely impressive. That's why he is extremely good. That's why he is extremely excellent. That's why he inspires great admiration. That's why he deserves great admiration. That's why he deserves respect. That's why he deserves honor. That's why he is the God of glory, because he does mighty wonders. And one of the mighty wonders was when he saved the Israelites, when he saved his people. Now, I don't know. I was not there. But can you imagine, probably some of those people, right? Some of those people probably knew the territory, or I don't know. Some of those people, they were already thinking up in their minds how the journey would go. Some of those people were probably thinking like, okay, we're probably going to go, we're going to take this route. We're probably going to go this way. We're probably going to go around this way. Yeah, because it only makes sense that we would cross that town over there. It would only make sense that we go through this route. Yeah, I bet that's how it's going to go. It's either going to go A, or it's either going to go B. And then God came with C. God came with something that was completely impossible. God said, I'm going to part the sea. I'm going to part the Red Sea, and the Israelites are going to walk through the sea. I mean, where there's supposed to be sea, and now it's dry land with a wall of water on this side and a wall of water on this side. Could you just imagine? I mean, the shock. Like, once they got through that route, that pathway that God had arranged for them, could you imagine? They were like, did that just happen? Like, so confused, especially those people that in their minds they had already made up of like, it was either A or B. We were either going to go take this route, or we were going to either take that route. But then God showed up with C. Now I relate to this because literally, me, in my limited understanding, right, in my limited thinking, I was in the same boat. I was like, okay, either A is going to happen or B is going to happen. I was so set on that. I was literally so set on that. I was like, I mean, yeah, it would only make sense that this probably happens, but I'm hoping B happens too, but God, let your will be done. Whatever you say, A or B, I'm good, God, right? I'll be good. And then God gave me C. I was confused, because I was like, well, I didn't expect that. I didn't even know that was an option. Literally, that was my thing. I didn't even know that was a possibility, because I was so set on A or B, and then God came with C. I was like, oh. And so then I was reminded God can do exceedingly abundant than anything you could ask or think. I was so set on A or B. It only made sense that either A or B would happen. And then none of those happened. C happened. Something that I didn't even know existed. Something I didn't even know that was a possibility. I didn't even know. I didn't even know that could be an outcome. And I'm not saying that A, B, or C, like, one of those was greater than the other, or I don't know. I'm not, the outcome doesn't matter. I'm not saying let's focus on the outcome, on how things went. I'm not saying that. I'm saying God can do the impossible, as in add in something that you didn't even know was a possibility. Like, you didn't, because we have our thinking and our understanding is just so limited. Let's humble ourselves. I literally only thought A or B. Like, that's all. And God arranged a C to happen. Now I'm not saying my example is like, over here, that God made dry land appear, right? But I'm saying, literally, your road led through the sea, a pathway no one knew was there. God created a path where there was no path. God created an outcome where you had your own outcomes. God came in with a better one. It's better because God came up with it. It's better because God arranged that to happen. It's better because it was part of God's plan. It's better because it came from God. No one, it says that no one knew that path was there. Because I mean, who could imagine? Who could imagine that those Israelites, like I'm saying, they couldn't have imagined that they were gonna cross through the sea? They were just like me. It's either A or B. No one could have imagined that. No one could have come up with that. But you know me, I love that but, that beautiful but God arranged something different. God prepared something different. A new road, a new pathway. And let me tell you something about that new road, that new pathway. It's also an unknown pathway, an unknown road, as in, since no one knew it was there, since no one knew that was possible, then that means this is unknown to you. Could you imagine? Could you imagine, like, seriously, you're part of the Israelites, right? And you're fixed on A or B, and then the sea is parted, there's a wall of water here and a wall of water in dry land, and you're just told, like, okay, let's go, we're going through this. Could you imagine it? Like, what? Like, what you mean? Like, how am I supposed to trust that the waters aren't going to cave in? Like, how am I supposed to trust that this is really okay, that this is really safe? Like, how am I supposed to trust? Let me tell you how. You led your people along that road, that unknown road, like a flock of sheep. Like a flock of sheep. Let me just tell you, like a flock of sheep, because flock of sheep don't know where they're going. They don't know what they're going. They don't know what they're supposed to be doing, right? They're just banging around, right? They don't know. They need someone to guide them. They need someone to lead them. They need someone to protect them from harm. They need someone. They need a shepherd. And it says, with Moses and Aaron as their shepherds, right? The Israelites shepherd. And likewise, now God is leading us into an unknown road, an unseen, we couldn't have imagined, we couldn't have think of this. I mean, this is completely unknown to us. We don't know what to expect. We All I can think about is A or B, but God is arranging C, and I don't know. I don't know. It is unknown. And so, because it is unknown, because we don't know what we're stepping into, and because we're afraid, we don't know, that's why we need a shepherd. We have Jesus, and I want to take you to Matthew 14. Matthew 14, when Jesus walks on water. So it says, immediately after this, Jesus insisted that his disciples get back into the boat and cross to the other side of the lake while he sent the people home. After sending them home, he went up into the hills, Jesus, by himself to pray. Night fell while he was there alone. Meanwhile, the disciples were in trouble far away from land, for a strong wind had risen and they were fighting heavy waves. About 3 o'clock in the morning, Jesus came toward them, walking on the water. When the disciples saw him walking on the water, they were terrified. In their fear, they cried out, "It's a ghost!" But Jesus spoke to them at once. "Don't be afraid," he said. "Take courage. I am here." Then Peter called to him, "Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come to you, walking on the water." Verse 29, "Yes, come," Jesus said. So Peter went over the side of the boat and walked on the water toward Jesus. But when he saw the strong wind and the waves, he was terrified and began to sink. "Save me, Lord," he shouted. Jesus immediately reached out and grabbed him. "You have so little faith," Jesus said. "Why did you doubt me?" On this journey that we're on this road that we're on this pathway, I'm reminded of Psalms 32, the best pathway, our best pathway, because it's God given, it's God ordained, it's God arranged, right? God has arranged this best pathway for us. It is the best pathway because it's from God. Nonetheless, it is still unknown. It is still a pathway that we haven't crossed before. It is still a pathway that we couldn't have imagined. We still can't imagine what that means, or what it's going to look like. We can't, because we have such a limited understanding, such a limited way of thinking, right? Unknown can be scary. Unknown can be terrifying. Unknown can be daunting. Unknown can be confusing. But again, but God knows that. That's why he sent someone to be that way for us. It says in John, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And so back to Matthew 14, when all this chaos is going, right? I mean, literally, it says that the waves were crashing, the wind, like you could just imagine, just it looks scary. And so the majority of the disciples, right, what they could just think of in their limited understanding, right, what they could just think of was, that's a ghost. Like, there's a figure walking, it's a ghost, right? But Peter wanted to believe, right? There was something inside of Peter, right? Peter wanted to believe, right? He's like, that's Jesus. That's the Son of God. I want to believe. I want to believe. And so he tells Jesus, Lord, if it's really you, then tell me to come to you walking on water, right? Tell me to do something that's impossible. And so Jesus says, yes, come. So Peter takes that step in faith, right? He takes that step in faith. But as he's going, right, he's witnessing, like, dang, these waves are real as well, right? Like, these waves are really crashing in. These waves are really, like, tossing me back and forth. I mean, the wind is really strong. Like, this is real too. That fear is real too. This unknown is real too. So he begins to feel terrified and he begins to sink. And out of his desperation, he shouts, Save me, Lord. It says Jesus immediately, like, luego, like, I see that you're drowning. Jesus immediately reached out and grabbed him. You have so little faith, Jesus said. Why did you doubt me? Oh, why did you doubt? If I have commanded you, why did you doubt? If that step that you are taking, I commanded it. I told you, come. So why did you doubt? Don't you think I had you the whole time? Don't you think I was with you the whole time? Don't you remember I was with you the whole time? Don't you remember, Peter, that I was standing right there, that I am with you, that I am literally with you? The fear is real, the unknown is real, the waves crashing, that was still happening, that is real. But Jesus says, I am with you. I'm standing right here. I'm right here. So now, if Jesus is with you in this unknown territory, right? If Jesus is walking with you, don't you believe that he will step in immediately? If he sees that you are drowning, don't you believe that he will step in, that he will do something about it? Why did you doubt me? I said it before, but God is not. I mean, I forget where it says, but in Psalms it says, like, he doesn't sleep. The God who watches over you, he doesn't take naps, he doesn't sleep. Like, he's with you. He's watching over you. You are the apple of his eye. That means, he got a close eye on you. I'm being reminded of the other story, where it's, again, they're in the boat. All the disciples, right, are in the boat with Jesus. But Jesus fell asleep. Jesus was, taking a nap. He was tired. Let's not forget, he was a human, right? So he got tired. He'd been talking all day, preaching all day long, healing, so he was tired. He took a nap in the back of the boat, and then a storm started going on, and then they woke him up. They're like, don't you care? Don't you see? Don't you see what's happening? Like, we're about to go down. Why are you just sleeping there? Let me tell you how that story ended. When Jesus woke up, he rebuked the wind and the raging waves. Suddenly, the storm stopped and all was calmed. Then he asked them, where is your faith? Again, these storms are real. These tribulations are real. These situations that you're in or you're going to encounter, these things are real, producing real feelings, producing real emotions, right? Like, you're really gonna be terrified. You're really gonna be scared. You're really gonna be worried. But where is your faith? Let's not forget the God who can. Let's remember the God who does wonderful deeds. Let's remember the awesome one. Let's remember the one who is extremely impressive, deserving of praise. Let's remember the God of glory. Let's remember all the miraculous signs that he has done. Let's remember. I want to take you back to Psalm 77. The author of Psalm 77, right? I mean, he's going through it. He's like, I cry out to God. Yes, I shout. All night long, I prayed with hands lifted toward heaven, but my soul was not comforted. I think of God and I moan, overwhelmed with longing for his help. So he's going through it, right? He's like, you don't let me sleep. I am too distressed even to pray. And it says, I think of the good old days when my nights were filled with joyful songs. I search my soul and ponder the difference now. Has the Lord rejected me forever? Will he never again be kind to me? Is his unfailing love gone forever? Have his promises permanently failed? Has God forgotten to be gracious? Has he slammed the door on his compassion? So that psalmist, I mean, he's just going through it, right? And he's asking the Lord for help. But, in his limited understanding, right? He could only think of two things. It's only A or B for him, right? He's like, I could think of the good old days, right? So I just want things to go back to normal. I mean, seriously, can you relate when you're getting hit back to back with, situation after situation, tribulation after tribulation? Like, you literally just got over something and something new just popped up, right? So I can imagine that's probably what he was going through, right? So that's why he's remembering of the good old days. He's like, God, can I just return back to the good old days? Can I just return back to normal, please, Lord? And so that's his A, right? He's like, this is what I hope for, Lord. I hope for this. And he's like, but also B exists in his limited understanding, right? In his limited understanding, he's like, okay, B exists too. And maybe the Lord has rejected me. Maybe God has forgotten about me. Maybe God has abandoned me. You know what? Maybe I messed up and now God doesn't love me anymore. You know what? Maybe God won't be kind to me ever again. But then I recall all you have done, O Lord. I remember your wonderful deeds of long ago. I cannot stop thinking about your mighty works. O God, your ways are holy. Is there any God as mighty as you, Lord? You are the God of great wonders. You demonstrate your awesome power among the nations. By your strong arm, you redeemed your people. This psalmist remembers. He begins to remember. He begins to remember where his faith is. Again, he doesn't know how it's going to play out, right? He doesn't know because, again, he's like, it's either A or B, right? But then he remembers, I'm going to keep believing in you, though, Lord. My faith is in you. My hope is in you. My confidence is in you, Lord. And I remember you did this. And I remember you did that. And I remember that the whole creation fears you. I remember that the whole creation knows you. And I remember it says, the clouds poured down rain, the thunder rumbled in the sky, your rare arrows of lightning flashed, your thunder roared from the whirlwind, the lightning lit up the world, the earth trembled and shook. He remembers that the whole creation yields to God's command. He remembers that the whole creation fears God. There's this song that says, if all of creation listens to you, God, then so will I. It says, when the Red Sea saw you, O God, its water looked and trembled. The sea quaked to its very depths. He remembers that his faith is in the awesome one. He remembers that his faith is in the God of great wonders. He remembers God's strong arm. He remembers God's awesome power. He remembers that God is the God of the impossible. He remembers that God can come up with plan C. He remembers that God can come up with something completely different. He remembers that God can do exceedingly abundant than anything we can ever ask or think. He remembers that God's thoughts are higher. He remembers that God's ways are higher. He remembers where he has placed his faith in. He remembers his God. He remembers his heavenly Father. He remembers his shepherd. He remembers to put his faith in the awesome one. One last thing that I want to leave you with is in John chapter 16, verse 33. And it says, I have told you all this so that you may have peace in me. Here on earth you will have many trials and sorrows, but take heart because I have overcome the world. Jesus says, I'm telling you all this. I'm letting you in on all of this because you're my friend. I remember it says, you're no longer my servants. You're my friend because I have brought you in on all of this. So Jesus says, I'm telling you all of this so that you can have peace in me, so that you can place your faith in God, so that you can believe in me, so that you can believe that I am with you, so that you can remember as you're going through trials and sorrows, because they're bound to happen. It says here in this world, they are bound to happen. But I'm going to need you to remember that I am with you. That Jesus who calms the storm, that Jesus who creation yields to his command, right? That Jesus who immediately will pull you out when he sees you drowning, immediately will act on that Jesus. He is walking with you. He says, I am with you. The one who has overcome the world is walking with you, is with you. That's why you can have peace, because the one who has overcome this world is with you, is walking with you in this unknown territory, in this unknown journey, in this unknown path, in the I don't know what to expect, I don't know. But take heart because you are in good hands. I have to go now, but I hope that you were encouraged today. I hope that you were able to just take something out of this. I hope that you have a good week ahead, a better week ahead. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. Until next time.